if it's a movement that hasn't necessarily been done a lot previously.
And one thing, some people say, well, you just have to rest, but not all the time.
Yeah, so it's good to take a break in a sense, but that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing at all. If you're experiencing symptoms like that and having soreness with throwing in particular, that's a good time to be seen by a physical therapist to try to assess the root cause of your symptoms. You could have weakness in the rotator cuff. We could have some shoulder instability. There's a lot going on with throwing, so it's important to have that thoroughly assessed to get you back on the road to recovery.
Get started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com.
It's the Big 24 at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. We're celebrating 24 years with an April packed with chances to win big. Every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. till midnight, we're giving away a share of over $50,000 in cash and prizes. Be here for drawings twice each hour with growing prizes as the night goes on, including 5 chances to win $1,000 from 10 p.m. till midnight. Come be a part of our 24th anniversary at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort in Deadwood. How will your night play out?
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Josh Naylor is homered twice for the Seattle Mariners, a 3-run shot and then a 2-run home run as the M's are on top of the Astros 6-2, playing in the top of the 8th inning in Seattle. The Astros have lost 7 in a row. It's the longest losing streak in all of baseball, and earlier today placed 2 players on the injured list. Pitcher Tatsuya Imai is on the IL because of arm fatigue. Jeremy Pena is dealing with a strained hamstring. In the NFL, Texans GM Nick Caserio told reporters today that picking up the 5th-year option on the contract of quarterback C.J. Stroud was a, quote, no-brainer, end quote. The Giants signed backup quarterback Brandon Allen to a deal. WNBA draft is tonight. The Dallas Wings have the first overall pick. ESPN reports Lakers guard Luka Doncic will return to the team from Spain on Friday, with still no timetable for his return from that injured hamstring. Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors had the most popular jersey according to sales in the NBA this season. The Knicks led all teams in the NBA in merchandise sold. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. We're ready to go on a Monday tonight. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Our affiliates are KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great day on Fox Sports Rapid City as well. Here we go. It is always a great day in South Dakota. Say it with me, even though we're back at it on a Monday. You're all back working hard. Thanks for checking in. 2 hours thought-provoking sports talk for South Dakota, from high school to college to the pros. Let's get after it tonight. Thanks for listening to the radio side of this. We appreciate it. Also, we are streaming on X. Find us at Nate Brown Show and watch us live. Welcome in studio there. So live video, and the show is live right now on X at Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch us live. YouTube channel is up right now, The Nate Brown Show. If you haven't subscribed, do that. You're easy to find there, The Nate Brown Show. You've got us on your YouTube channel. And Midwest Sports Plus, ready to go on the new high school sports streaming app, Midwest Sports Plus. Do you have it? Get it. And you've got the Nate Brown Show live. Back on a Monday, what do we got lined up? Good stuff tonight. It is a Reaction Monday with Rob Kagron. How much of the Masters did Rob watch? I mean, he said it's one of his premier sporting events all year long. I watched the Masters quite a bit of it. I thought Saturday was really, really good. Sunday, it looked like Rory was going to hang on. Scheffler got in the mix big time, and Rory does hang on. So Sunday maybe not as dramatic, But I did watch the Masters, and by the way, let's do a little test right away. Let's do a little test. Rob Kagron's going to be in for a Reaction Monday next hour. But the producer of the Nate Brown Show, Matt Kearney, he enjoyed his weekend. He did not watch 1 second of the Masters. The Masters. Do I have to talk to Matt Kearney about this? By the way, are you listening right now across the state of South Dakota? Is there anybody that did not watch 1 second of the Masters? I'm not telling you had to watch Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but of course you turned it on. At some point you said, I'm going to check in and see how this is going. I watched it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I didn't see it Thursday. I was relying on Rob Kagron for that great update, but I watched it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did you not watch? Is there anybody out there that did not 1 second? Because I'm going to bring my friend Matt Kearney and see if he's made history on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Okay, let's get to the guest lineup. Mike Rand is coming up from the Star Tribune. He covers the Twins, the Wolves, all of it. Minneapolis Star Tribune senior writer Michael Rand is on. Don't look now, but your Minnesota Twins are tied for the best record. Come on. In the American League, everybody was crying and whining just a week ago. No fans, nothing. This is terrible. The Twins, they can't keep this up. This is going to be the all-time Minnesota sports story. The Twins are going to go into this thing. They're going to make a run in the AL Central this year. They got rid of everybody. They're not spending money. They're losing. Michael Rand on his reaction to the Twins' start so far, tied for first in the American League, and they just swept the Tigers. Anybody upset about that? Michael Rand's coming up. We will get to the O'Gorman head boys basketball coach. They just named him today. He's on tonight. Dan Jansen, great player at Augie, player of the year in the NSIC, all-time leading scorer, Augie men's basketball. Dan Jansen's taking over for Derek Roby at O'Gorman. He's live tonight, and we'll talk to the high school sports writer for Sioux Falls Live, Trent Singer. He's in as well. Good stuff tonight. We already have received some listener texts that from people that did not watch 1 second of the Masters. So I'm upset about that. I am upset about that Matt Kearney has not set a record and he has not made history on the Nate Brown Show. Why not? I mean, even if you don't like golf, you got to check in on 1 second, 5 minutes. You got to check in on it. I'm not telling you got to grind through it. I almost had a nice nap, that golf nap you catch after a lunch on a Saturday. You got some activities picking up later in the day. I almost grabbed one of those. I haven't experienced that for a while. You got to do that. I mean, just if you wanted a little quick relaxation, you got to watch the Masters. But anybody else across South Dakota that did not watch 1 second, you let me know on the text line. We already got a couple. We got two, and then we have Matt Kearney, the great producer of the Nate Brown Show, did not watch 1 second of the Masters. We'll get into that coming up. The text line is open, 605-720-1067. Hit us there. 605-720-1067. Trying to find the golf haters. The golf haters? Could I call you that? Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline is also ready for you tonight. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Powered by the Pizza Ranch. Two great locations. East River. Stop by this week. East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. And a great Pizza Ranch with a Fun Zone arcade that's outstanding in Brandon. Home of everyone's favorite buffet. Hit your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Okay. Lot to discuss. Masters, baseball, draft. There's some good stuff today. NBA. There's a stat that I think you're going to want to hear as a sports fan. I'm gonna dive into the NBA. Not going to get too negative, but I'm going to get a little negative. Just see. I had my own experience with the NBA this year, just a couple of weeks ago, and it was one of the best sports experiences I've had as I went to the NBA game a couple of weeks ago. So I'm gonna get into that. Hang on. I want to go to this high school sports story. So we cover high school sports on this program a lot, have a great passion for it, appreciate all the kids and the coaches and just what makes South Dakota high school sports special. I think it's great. So here's a message from Dom Izzo out of North Dakota. So we have him on the show. As a matter of fact, I think Dom told me he's going to come on tomorrow. So we'll kind of see what his thoughts are on this. But I think this is too good, and it applies more than just in Fargo, North Dakota. This applies to other areas, South Dakota, wherever you want to put it. It applies to high school sports. So here's what Dom Izzo reported over the weekend. And I'm not familiar with this high school. I don't know it, but I know it's a private high school in Fargo. It's Fargo Shanley. Okay? So here's what happened. 2 basketball coaches at Fargo Shanley just got let go this weekend. The girls basketball coach and the boys basketball coach. And so why is this big news? It's like, oh, coaches get let go. It is what it is, Nate. Well, hang on. Dom Izzo is saying he had sources, yes, the sources. He had sources say the reason the basketball coaches were let go was because of angry parents. So here we go. It's the parent mob that took down these Fargo Shanley coaches. So again, I don't know the history of these programs. I've kind of dug into it so I can be educated. But we don't know the circumstances exactly, but we do know 2 basketball coaches were just let go over the weekend, and Dom Izzo from WDAY in Fargo is saying he has sources that say this was angry parents that said, we got to get these coaches out of here. And so here's the deal. There's a couple of things I want to get in on this, and then let you guys get in on this as well. So I want you guys to get in on this. We have this situation now in sports where I believe parents, and that's me, that's you, okay? I have kids playing sports. Many of you do. I think we can admit many parents, and maybe I'm this way too sometimes. I try not to be because I coach a basketball team. I'm worried about the team. I'm worried about every player. And yes, I've coached a youth team. My daughter's been on it. I mean, a lot of you have been in this spot. But when you see the bigger picture for the team, it does give me a little different perspective on this. Because I'm worried about the team, but guess what? Many parents are only worried about what? I mean, I think you guys can admit this today. They're only worried about their child and what happens to them. I think that's happened now in this sports culture. I think more than way back in the day. Now, I think my parents were probably concerned about me as a player. When I was playing high school basketball, there was always, yeah, you're going to say this and you're going to have that, and there's politics, and people are talking. The rumor mill just didn't start up in 2026. The politics in sports didn't start up just in 2026. But I am going to say, here's 2 basketball coaches in Fargo. Dom Izzo saying they just got their performance reviews, and it was fine. Like, it was like, hey, yeah, we're good to go. And then a little while later, they're gone. Both coaches, boys basketball, girls basketball, gone. And Dom's saying it was the angry parents that said, no, I mean, we're all upset. So my point is, this now turns into, I think parents have a loud voice, and you can get a few of them that all of a sudden team up and they say, well, this guy's not doing a good job, or this lady's not doing a good job because of this and this. And it has to be mainly centered on their kids only. I've seen this happen in South Dakota. By the way, I'm hearing this going on in high school programs right now. I hear this in South Dakota constantly, that parents are upset with this coach and they're upset with this coach. Some of them have been there 15 years. Some of them have been there 1 year. Guess what? The parents are upset in both aspects. The person who's been there forever, the person who's been there 1 year. And so we have this culture, I think, more today. I don't know where it's come from totally. Social media, the expectations we have because we're on the travel teams, and we were really, really good when we were on this 5th grade team. We should be the man. We should be the players. And I don't know where it comes from. all the investment, the competitiveness, the social media culture, but the parents are dialed in on what, and we love our kids. We see them with rose-colored glasses. We just do. And we're not worried about the team in general. And so that's, I think, where all of this comes from. I don't know what the coaches did in Fargo. I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to Dom Izzo on the show tomorrow. We'll see if he has any intel on this, and we'll bring him into this. My deal tonight is, how much do ADs have to listen to parents' concerns? That's my question tonight across South Dakota Sports Talk Show tonight. As a matter of fact, let's do that. Let's do, how much should ADs be concerned about parents' complaints about coaches? Like, and I'm not saying, like, if there's like serious complaints, like if it gets into some really bad stuff, that's different. So I'm not telling you all complaints are the same, but what I'm telling you is, if it's just complaints about, well, this offense, we're not doing a good job developing these players. My son or daughter didn't get this playing time. I'm a junior and I should play over this freshman. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about, because it's prevalent. So take one category. It's like, oh, if you don't listen to parent complaints, you can't do that. I'm not talking about serious complaints, like if there's something really wrong in a program and there's some, witnesses and there's certain things like that. That's a whole separate thing. That's not the discussion tonight. The discussion tonight is, if coaches are getting let go over complaints over this playing time, this game, that decision. That's what I'm talking about. How much should ADs listen to parent complaints about a coach? That's my question of the day. That's a tough one, because I think you're going to say, well, you have to listen to the parents. People are going to say you have to listen to the parents. Yet a lot of coaches would say, man, I need my AD to have my back. There's going to be people you know what the lesson is in coaching? You can't make everybody happy. That's the lesson in life. We deal with that in work and the whole thing. You can't make everybody happy. So how do you listen to some parent complaints and then you decide on coaching maneuvers? I don't know how you can do it. I really don't know how you can do it. Thanks for calling tonight. You're live and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. Thanks for taking my call. I think it's just it's a runaway snowball on this deal. Like, once people start complaining, they're going to complain to the AD. And then if the AD is not listening to, they go to the principal, and then the principal, then they go to the superintendent of the schools, like whatever, It's like, it's just like, who's going to have whose back? Like, I do agree with you that I think a lot of this stems from, people paying for their kids to play sports since they're in kindergarten now. Like, back in the day when we started basketball in 4th grade. Yeah. Now people pay for travel teams in 2nd grade and, thinking their kids are going to make make great big NIL checks and things like that. Like, I do think it stems from that. Also, we don't let our kids struggle anymore.
Yes, true.
But I do think that, I'm sure the athletic directors try to, because a lot of those guys are ex-coaches. So I think they probably try to take the back of the coach as long as they can until their job comes in question. And then it's like, oh, am I going to go in front of the school board? So, you got to save yourself sometimes. But, yeah.
Vicious cycle.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. No, it is. I appreciate you. Thanks, man. I appreciate you getting in. So my question of the day, you sound off if you could. How serious should high school ADs take parent complaints about coaches? And I'm not talking about serious complaints with something that's happened that's been, the welfare of an athlete, something like that. That's a whole different story. I'm talking if the coaches at Fargo were just let go, like, we didn't really like how they did stuff. What do you do there as an AD? So 2 basketball coaches let go at the same time at this Fargo Shanley school, private school in Fargo. Boys basketball coach let go. Girls basketball coach let go. And you're like, well, what were their records? The girls basketball team was 16-10. So I mean, you can get into all sorts of stuff. I'm just telling you, Dom Izzo from Fargo said parents were upset and they wanted the coaches out. So do the parents run the show, or as an AD, do you have to be really tough? I mean, if you think you have the right coaches, can you survive as an AD trying to keep the right coaches? That's my question of the day. How serious do you take complaints from parents if you're a high school AD? You can't take anything serious, or you have to take the parent complaints serious. This has turned into, people have now said, well, the coaches are whining. I've seen this on social media just off this Fargo story. The coaches are whining, and they're not pointing out the coaches in Fargo, but all the coaches these days, they whine about parents. Well, hang on. I actually have been on both sides of it, where I talk to a lot of high school coaches. I hear about some of the things that go on, and I am a parent. So I kind of looked like, well, there's some things I disagree with sometimes when you're going up in the sports cycle. So but we all just can't run all the time. And well, this is this. And I think that's happening more. And I think ADs are backed into a corner, as the last caller just says, like, how powerful are the ADs anymore? Are the parents more powerful now than the ADs? And it seems like in a lot of aspects they are. It seems like it. Let's see. Lister text coming in. This is, hang on a second. What's this one? Says, my generation has failed as parents. We were the ones that got the first participation trophies. Well, what generation is that? What generation is that? You tell me. You texted that in. Where are we talking now? What's the cutoff? Thanks for calling tonight. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. Parents should have zero input on the coaches. I'll be honest, it sounds like the ADs need to have a little bit more of a backbone in this state and shut down the parents on basically anything.
Okay. Zero. All right, man. Thanks for getting in. He's hardline. But I'm going to tell you this. Thanks for getting in, by the way. I appreciate that. I have seen schools that have been really, really backing up their coaches. I have seen ADs that have backed up their coaches really strong in this state. I don't know if there's a ton of them, but I've seen some that have really backed up their coaches, and they have had success. And some of these coaches, they've stayed in the game a long time, and they've won. And then I've seen schools, you guys know schools, coaches are in and out 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, 1 year, half a year. I mean, it's just like all over the map. Something's not right there. Coaches in for a year, out, in, out. Something's not right. How much should ADs listen to parent complaints about coaches? Our question of the day tonight, and we got a lot to discuss, including one of these guys is going to step right into the arena. Dan Jansen. He's the Augie all-time leading scorer, and he's the NSIC Player of the Year. He's a great player, right? You know Dan at Augie. He's going to be the new head boys basketball coach at O'Gorman. I'm going to talk to him about, what are you getting into here? No, I think he might do a good job. Great experience as a player, and also coached out in South Carolina after he was done playing overseas. Dan Jansen's coming up, but first, we'll go to the Twin Cities. Michael Rand is on tonight. The Twins are in first place. What? Coming up.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. You can always be their number one. Hill Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine, the number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renew, handle everything from start to finish and beyond. We are your full-service custom replacement solution. Buy one Acclaim replacement window or ensemble entry door and get the second 40% off with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Don't wait. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome in. Getting going on a Monday, the Nate Brown Show live across South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Reaction Monday tonight. Rob Kegron will be our guest host all next hour, so hang on. The Rob Kegron Show's coming up. I'm going to start calling it that. It's the second hour is the Rob Kegron Show. First 5 minutes is the Matt Kearney Show. We usually talk about that, and then we go to the Nate Brown Show, okay? Michael Rand is on tonight, covering the Twins, the Wolves, and everything for the Star Tribune. StarTribune.com. Out of the Twin Cities. Michael, welcome in. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. I appreciate you coming on. I got a lot to hit on. I didn't think we'd be talking Twins this early, Michael. I didn't think we'd be talking Twins, or maybe we'd be talking like they have 3 wins or 2 wins. Right. They're 9-7. They're tied for the best record in the American League. Well, they just swept the Tigers. What is going on? What should we be saying here? Just a flash in the pan? What's going on?
I mean, listen, I don't think they're going to finish with the best record in the American League, or even one of the 3 or 4 best. But you got to enjoy the moments while they're here, right? They're 8-3 in their last 11 games. They're hitting pretty well. They seem to be playing with a certain energy. They got some promising pitchers. Taj Bradley's been really good. So, I think at the very least we can probably say they look a little bit better than we thought they would look, and I don't know what that holds up as overall. I also think the American League Central is maybe a little bit weaker than we thought it was, because Detroit is not really very impressive at all so far. feel like their lineup is taking some hits. Their rotation's going to be fine, but I don't know. Maybe they'll be one of those teams that even if they don't really contend, they'll be interesting at least until football season.
So how does this play out with the Twins fan? Because I'm not a Twins fan. There's a ton of them here in South Dakota, obviously. And so I'm trying to see, because people say, well, this whole thing's a mess. The Twins are a mess. We don't want to support the Twins. They don't spend any money. We want them to lose, and we're not going to show up. What if this plays out that they're competing in the AL Central? Twins fans are going to be happy, are they not?
Yeah, they'll be happy. I mean, it's a cycle, right? They always figure it out at some point, right? They always come back. So I don't think it's going to be like that. They're still mad at the poll ads, though. They'd like to spend more money, that's for sure. But I think if there's truly a good team, they'll watch them. I would think that's true.
Okay, so I looked at the crowd last week, and it got a lot of attention. This home game, it was only like 30 degrees, and people saying there's only 1,000 fans there, if that. And people say, well, that's because nobody's showing up. I thought, no, hang on. It's got to be the weather. It's got to be a Wednesday night game in April.
Yeah, that's a lot of it right now. Like they typically don't draw well this time of year. It's not been nice for really many of their home games at all so far. Now they're back home now, and it's been a beautiful day all day, but they're talking about hail in about an hour right around first pitch. So they don't catch a lot of weather breaks generally in April in Minnesota. And I think they've got like 17 home games in April this year, or before the end of April, and a couple more right at the start of May. So the schedule makers didn't do them a ton of favors this year. But if they're playing good baseball in June and July, you'll get the casuals, you'll get some of the hardcores. The people will be like, all right, I'm going to come check this out. I don't know what attendance is going to be this year, but I think people will come out and check it out.
But do you think there is a pushback? Do you think the fan base is the most upset they've been?
It's close. I mean, it may be. I mean, you just watch what's happened in the last 2.5 years, right? Like they make the playoffs in 2023. They win a playoff series for the first time since 2002. Then they cut payroll in the offseason. They fade in 2024, trade everybody in 2025. They don't sell the team last year when they say they're going to. They fire the manager. The GM president walks out the door. However you want to term that. I mean, it's been a lot of, it's been a lot, and so I think people went into this season with very low expectations, and it was probably easy to say, well, I'm not going to tune these guys out. I'm not watching until this gets resolved. So I think there is some of that angst, but I also think what you're seeing mostly right now is the expectation that this was going to be a bad team reflected in season ticket sales being down, and then also, April. Nobody wants to go to a game in April.
Michael Rand on tonight from the Twin Cities, senior digital writer, StarTribune.com, talking Twins. They're 9-7, just swept the Tigers. Last one on the Twins. So can they prove, if they stay in this, even if the AL Central's maybe not the best, can they say, well, this is how you can win by not spending money. We're going to go the Rays route here.
I don't think they'll ever go like full Rays, but I think they do have to settle into a certain equilibrium, right? Like they kind of sent mixed messages, I feel like, when they went and signed Carlos Correa, right? Like signed Carlos Correa to what amounted to, with if he hit all his incentives, like a 6-year, $200 million contract, but then you don't back that up with more spending. So I think they need to kind of figure out what team they want to be, how they want to run the business, and B, I think they're really waiting for some kind of new economic system in baseball to help them be what they, to help them compete in that kind of landscape.
Michael Rand on tonight. Twins are, long season, but they're in the hunt, tied for the best record in the American League. I want to go to the Wolves here. So NBA playoffs are starting. You tell me what you think about Wolves with the Nuggets matchup.
I don't love it. I mean, I liked it better a couple of years ago when they beat the Nuggets in the Western Conference, I guess, semifinals that would have been. Denver seems deeper this year. I feel like lessons from 2 years ago and even last year have been learned. Jokic is still great. Jamal Murray's playing at a high level. Like, I still think the Wolves present certain matchup problems for Denver. I don't think Denver is probably too excited about this matchup. I think, of the kind of middle teams in the West, I think Denver probably would have preferred the Lakers or maybe even the Rockets. I think they probably match up a little bit better with those teams. But, some of it just comes down to what version of the Wolves we're going to see, too. How healthy is Anthony Edwards? How healthy is Jaden McDaniels? And can they just kind of flip a switch and play more consistent basketball than we've seen for too many stretches of the season?
Does this not, it doesn't feel like a team that can make a deep run like the other ones, does it?
I don't think so. I mean, it wouldn't completely shock me if they won a series, but they're pretty heavy underdogs in this series from what I can see. And it kind of feels like they've just been kind of biding their time this season. They made it to the conference finals last season by kind of doing this same thing, but they probably got some matchup breaks last year. They played the Lakers, who, really good team, but Luka and LeBron were still figuring out how to play, with each other last year. That was a trade deadline thing with Luka, and they played really well in that series. They beat the Lakers, and then they get Golden State, and they get to play them without Curry for most of that series, and they get waxed by Oklahoma City. So if they thought they could just do that same thing, I don't think they can this season. I honestly would probably be surprised if they win this series. I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be surprised. I think they might be a one and done this season, and then kind of looking for that next kind of reset to get back into that true contender mode.
What do we make of the KG reunion yesterday? First time at Target Center in 8 years. Timberwolves fans and Kevin Garnett. What did you make of it?
It was good. I mean, it should be. It shouldn't have been such a long time coming, but obviously, he had issue with the previous ownership group, and so kudos to Mark Lowry, Alex Rodriguez for mending that relationship. They're going to do a jersey retirement ceremony next year. It's kind of a shame that it came in a game that was basically, all the Wolves reserves, the Iowa Wolves, basically, because they had nothing to play for. Like, DiVincenzo played, but the rest of the team was basically, deep bench guys. So I wish he would have been at a better game. They did win, but it was probably a good thing. Got some fans in the stands for what was otherwise a meaningless game. And yeah, it's what it should be, right? It was sad for so many years that this had happened between him and the Wolves.
Is Kevin Garnett one of the all-time favorites in Minnesota still?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was, before this current iteration with the Wolves, he was pretty much all they'd ever had. I mean, almost all of their previous playoff appearances and their only other, playoff run before these last few years had been with him in his MVP season. So yeah, he's definitely one of the all-time guys here.
Find him on Twitter at StarTribune.com. That's his coverage of the Twins, Wolves, everything in between. Senior digital writer for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Michael Rand, on tonight. StarTribune.com, and he's on Twitter at Randball. Michael, thanks for hopping in. I appreciate it.
Sure, take care.
Thanks a lot. Michael Rand on tonight, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the senior writer for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Twins in first. Wolves taking on the Nuggets. That series starts this weekend. Who are you pulling for? Where's the balance of power here? Wolves fans heavy or Nuggets fans? We're in this middle part here. You're like Wolves or you're like Denver? Where are you at? I hate to tell you, I'm with Denver. I hate to tell you all, I am with Denver. I went and watched the Nuggets 2 weeks ago. I'm going to tell you the story about the NBA and what I think is really wrong with what happened yesterday. So I'm going to get into this, my experience, and then what happened yesterday in the NBA. That's coming up. We'll go to Dan Jansen next live. He's the O'Gorman head boys basketball coach, taking over for the legendary Derek Roby. Dan Jansen, a legend himself at Augustana, the new head coach coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Spring is here and Splash City is blooming with savings. It's their spring kickoff sale. Your backyard retreat is calling. Imagine relaxing, soaking away the day in a brand new Sundance or jacuzzi spa from Splash City. During the spring kickoff sale, get 0% financing for 72 months or save up to $5,000 in instant rebates. Why Splash City? Highest quality brands, largest dealer in spas and hot tubs in the region, and you get huge savings every time. Don't wait. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City today.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are you tired of being pointed to a wall of shoes? At Trav's Outfitter, we know better. Buying shoes shouldn't be guesswork. That's why we find the right footwear for the way you move, whether you're walking, working, or just on your feet all day. Athletics, work boots, Western boots, everyday comfort. Because when the fit is right, life is better. Come find us in the old Kmart building. Trav's Outfitter, best selection, best service, no BS.
What makes a credit union different from a bank? At Highmark Credit Union, it starts with you. We're member-owned, not shareholder-driven. That means our earnings go back to you through better rates, lower fees, and personal service. Unlike big banks, we put people first. You're not just an account number, you're part of a community. Highmark Credit Union. Local, personal, and here for you. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
At Dakota Discount RV, we're in it for the long haul, just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at dakotadiscountrv.com.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
All right, welcome back in. We are live across the state on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show back for a full week. Hope you had a good Monday. Thanks for checking in. Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City, South Dakota Sports Talk Show live. Well, O'Gorman has a new head boys basketball coach, and many of you know him from his playing days. 2-time Player of the Year, NSIC, Augustana all-time leading scorer, All-American at Augie, and went and played professionally overseas. Got into coaching after that, and now he's going to be the head boys basketball coach at O'Gorman, Dan Jansen. He's live on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline talking about the O'Gorman program. Coach, good to get you on. How are you?
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, just very excited and happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. So congrats on getting it. I know you've been on the staff there, And so, they probably thought, hey, this is a perfect deal. We got a good guy right here ready to go, and Derek Roby steps away. I want to ask you, though, first, you had a great college career. Then you played overseas, and then you came back, and you got into high school coaching quickly. Why'd you want to get into it? You're in education. Why do you want to do this coaching thing?
I've had a teacher and a coach in my life when I was in high school that were just really, really huge impacts on my life, and just thought what a great opportunity to pass that on and just, do what I can to help the next generation of students, athletes, and I just love basketball too. And I think there's a lot of cool things that sports can do. You see a different side of a kid outside of the classroom when they're on the sports field, and so those kind of opportunities I was really looking forward to.
How about that passion from your playing days? We watched you at Augie in a great college career you had. How's it different on the coaching sideline?
Honestly, it's not much different. The passion's still there. Obviously, maybe you have to try to be a little bit more reserved. Can't let it get too out of hand as a coach. You're supposed to be the calm, collected one. But the passion's still there. I think it's maybe shifted a little bit from, playing and all that stuff to more of a passion for just impacting these kids' lives and just using it as opportunity to help these kids grow. And just like I said, I had some people in my life who did that for me, and especially at a Christian school, just the opportunity to share Christ with these kids and tell them that you can be a lover of Christ and also, compete really hard on the basketball court. Dan Jansen's on tonight. He's the O'Gorman head boys basketball coach here on the Nate Brown Show as he takes over for Derek Roby. Now, you were with Coach Roby there. What did you take away from him in your limited time? It was only 1 year, but I guess my biggest thing for sure for Coach was just how much he cares about the kids. I think that's pretty evident, and, you do it for so long, and it's really cool to see that someone who's done it for 40 years just still had love for the kids, and was just, really passionate about doing what he could to help them.
I want to ask you about what's a Dan Jansen practice going to look like? What's your practice going to be? Are you hopping in there with these guys, posting up on these guys? What are you doing?
No, I think when I was assistant coaching and at my other job when I was at a smaller school, I would hop in. I'm definitely trying not to. Definitely, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, listened to a lot of coaches and interviews about. You definitely don't want to get involved, actually. You want to let them learn and grow, and it's not always good just for me to jump in and say, this is what it should look like. No, I don't want to jump in. I'm just going to let them learn, grow, make mistakes, and get better from it.
Talk about your time in Sioux Falls as a player and why you're back here and why you want to be there at O'Gorman.
Yeah, so we've been bouncing around ever since I went overseas and came back. So my wife, Chandler, she was actually an O'Gorman graduate in 2012. Her maiden name was Nielsen. And so we were actually in South Carolina for 3 years, and then we were in Iowa City last year. And so she's a doctor, and we always knew we wanted to come back to Sioux Falls. It's what we wanted to be, have family here. And when she kind of finished her training, Avera reached out pretty quickly, well over a year ago, and said, hey, we got a spot for you. Would you want to come back? And so we knew we were coming back to Sioux Falls like almost 2 years ago. And one of the main schools I wanted to be at was O'Gorman, and I really wanted the chance to be a head coach, and I told them that from the beginning. And I didn't think Coach Roby would call this his last year. That was not what I thought would happen. And what I really love about O'Gorman is you get that culture, that community, and again, I've really enjoyed getting to also talk about my faith with these kids.
Dan Jansen on tonight. He's taking over at O'Gorman for Derek Roby. He's going to be the head boys basketball coach for the Knights. This whole program has won a lot. How do you see the current state right now? They were pretty darn good this past year. What's it look like going into the offseason?
Oh, I think there's a lot of upside. We had a really, really good group of sophomores, some pretty solid juniors that got some good experience that will return, and I think it would be a lot of fun. Obviously, transition is always interesting, but I really think we just have a really good group of sophomores, juniors who are excited to work, and I think what's really cool about the group of guys is they just really get along. And, my experience in playing and other coaching experiences, it's cool when the guys just really like each other and you can feel it. So they root for each other, and they love to see their teammates succeed just as much as they like to succeed.
Coach, you've seen some of these stories, right? Today's world where I see some coaches are hanging it up. Even young guys, coach. They're like, man, it's a me-first mentality. How do you tackle that? How do you build a culture in basketball where it's team, it's family? How are you going to do it?
It's a great point. I think the biggest thing for me and what I want the program to look like is just servant leaders. Really big into that. Was just reading my Bible, listening to a podcast. Another coach, Grant McCaslin at Texas Tech, he talked about Matthew 28:20 about Christ didn't come to serve others. Christ did not come to be served, but to serve others. And so I think that's what's really cool at a Christian school. We just get to be open about that and talk about, it feels really good to serve others. It's just, there's so much studies, science, whatever, that when you serve other people, you feel good. And so I think starting from there is a big point. And obviously not all of our kids are Christian, and that's totally fine. But just getting them to understand the value of serving other people and how it can impact your life, because I'm telling you, in my life, my experience of serving others, it goes a long way.
You had a lot of passion, man. What's your favorite part? What's going to be your favorite part about game day? Head varsity boys basketball coach at O'Gorman, game day.
Game day, honestly, it's a little bit like when I played. I try not to get too amped up. I know people get jumping and hyping as a player, but I was always the guy trying to just kind of a slow burn. And so game day, I think the thing I'm most excited for is just all the work we put in, and just to see those boys go out and execute and just lay it all on the court. I think that's what I'm most excited for. And I think the cool challenge, too, is high school sports evolve and get a little bit more high level, just the adjustments you get to make and the coaching. But I'm looking forward to that, just that, letting those boys give out all that aggression and go out there and do their best.
I know you got a banquet tonight, wrapping things up, and then you take over. Dan Jansen, former Augie All-American, now the O'Gorman head boys basketball coach, on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Coach, thanks for hopping in. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Have a great rest of your night.
Appreciate your time. Dan Jansen on tonight. He's going to take over at O'Gorman. Great college player in Sioux Falls for Augustana, and was also a head coach in South Carolina high school. And then now back in South Dakota, was on the staff for Derek Roby this past year, and then steps in as Roby heads out after 40 years. Dan Jansen steps in, O'Gorman head boys basketball coach, and we'll be following the program as they've always been right in the mix. Appreciate him coming on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We come right back with reaction from Trent Singer, and I want to have Trent answer our question of the day, dealing with high school coaching. Sioux Falls Live's Trent Singer coming up.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Andersen, we handle everything from start to finish and beyond. We are your full-service custom replacement solution. Buy one Acclaim replacement window or ensemble entry door and get the second 40% off with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. plus an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Don't wait. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
That understands your needs, your values, and your growth. No more settling for the status quo. Pioneer Bank and Trust offers tailored solutions, innovative services, and a team of experts dedicated to your success. You deserve more attention and more support from your bank. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Our official outfitter is Trav's Outfitter, brand new store on Campbell Street in Rapid City. Catch them online anytime right now on your phone, TravsOutfitter.com. When it comes to work boots and the selection and the service and the pricing, that's the place. If you're on your feet all day, fit matters. Work with the experts. It's not just a place with a wall of shoes. They've got the folks that are going to make it about you and no commission style push. It's not about a quick sale. They're going to build a relationship, get you the right pair of boots, work boots, Western boots, athletic apparel. TravsOutfitter.com. And Trav's Outfitter, a brand new store, Campbell Street, Rapid City. Best selection, best service, no BS. Trav's Outfitter, South Dakota independent retailer, and proud of it. Trent Singer's in tonight. Covers high school sports, Augie hockey. He does it a lot. He does it all. SiouxFallsLive.com, SiouxFallsLive.com. Trent, how are you?
Doing good, man. Like I said, we got a storm rolling in here. If you hear a little thunder, it could be the cat trying to attack the screen door to get some of the rain. But yeah, a little bit of a thunderstorm rolling in here now over here in Sioux Falls. But a nice day, a beautiful time of the year.
Okay, I want to make sure your cat doesn't attack you. Your cat's not going to attack you, right?
Well, I can't guarantee that at all. He's rambunctious, man. But I think I'll be all right regardless. I'll try to talk my way through it if it happens.
Watch the cats. Watch them. Okay, let me get into this. I want to ask you a question of the day from Fargo, North Dakota is where the story originated. And then I said, well, it's bigger than this, but Dom Izzo's with WDAY and part of Forum, and he's going to be on the show tomorrow, kind of give his take on this. But he reported 2 basketball coaches let go at the same time in Fargo, the boys basketball coach, the girls basketball coach, and he's saying his sources are telling him it was angry parents that demanded the change. Because I'm not talking about, like, if there was something wrong that a coach did or a welfare of a student-athlete, something like that. That's totally different. I'm asking, how much should ADs in high school listen to parent complaints when it comes to coaches? That's my question of the day. What's your answer?
Well, there's a line there, right? There's nuance to that question. I certainly think when parents are raising concerns, right, there's certain concerns that certainly need to be heard. A lot of times, sometimes you'll run into situations where, parents are not really in agreement with the way that their players are, being treated, or those kind of things I think certainly need to be heard. But everything I've heard from this situation, I won't pretend like I know exactly what's going on. I know Dom will be able to fill you in a lot more with this one. But everything I've heard from this situation is, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just one coach. It was Beth Maher, who was the girls' head coach there at Shanley, and then also the boys' head coach Stefan Weber. With those two in particular, it looked like a situation where the program was kind of getting turned around. I think when politics start to get involved, I don't think an AD should ever listen to entertain parents that are maybe upset about their kids' playing time. Coaches all have their reasonings for stuff like that. A lot of times it's just simply a matter of giving the seniors their opportunity. And like I said, I think there's just nuance in this conversation. Certainly parents should be heard. I don't think that they should be put out. But when it's a political thing, when it starts to become something that, it's not so much an ethics thing or, a treatment of players situation, I don't fully agree with an AD listening to a group of parents who are disgruntled about maybe playing time. Like I said, I won't pretend like I know what's going on in this situation, but all the outpouring that I've seen from this, you can look at that Facebook post. There are tons of people who were not happy with this decision. I think that's kind of the bigger story here. It sounds like it's a political thing. It sounds like it wasn't so much a situation where, I don't know, maybe players were being treated unfairly or being worked a little too hard. Sometimes parents aren't really game for that. But yeah, this situation in particular is a little troubling, and I certainly hope it's not a trend moving forward. I don't see too much of it. Maybe from time to time I've seen some stuff like this where, a parent isn't happy with their kid's playing time. I know, maybe, you can bring up the West Central situation here locally, with what happened with Jacob sitting over there, and, hell, they won a state championship. I don't know if you can really dismiss the coaching change there too much now in hindsight, but, I don't know that AD should be listening to parents who are complaining about playing time or anything like of that nature. That's certainly something that should they got to brush that off and let the coach do their job.
Now, you have covered Iowa as well, so I just saw this same type of thing. This was a coach over in Iowa just posted. This is Clear Lake, okay? Just posted. Hey, we've done this and we've won and we've been to the state tournament. And here's our record and all of this and that. And then he said, that being said, we're going to move forward because it's now about a me first mentality. It's not about a team first. And so this was just today, and that led me to believe, again, this is everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people now are saying, this is about my kid, not the team, and this is a coach out of Iowa just posted it.
Well, and I think if you go to any high school basketball game, you're going to stand there on the court. I'm there throughout the season, and you're going to hear a lot of parents shouting at refs. You're going to hear them shouting at players, and players aren't listening to them. Right, the players are listening to their coach. It's a team. It's a family. It's very internal. It's trying to shut out the noise a lot of times. And I don't know how every situation is unique. Every situation is different when administrations decide to go in another direction. And they're certainly held to their own right. I also, I think it's if a coach, if an administrator is going to move in another direction with a coach. I think a lot of people are going to see that too, like on the outside, and draw their own conclusions. And you're going to be held to a whether or not you like it. The narrative is going to be painted, however the public wants to paint it. And so, making these decisions when they're maybe not just or in the right spirit or done with the right intentions. I mean, these were coaches who were only here for a handful of years too. Like they had built programs up and got them going in the right direction, and then now all of a sudden they want to move in another direction with another coach. And again, I can't speak to the situation. Every situation is different. Every situation is unique. But public's going to draw their own perception when stuff like this happens, and the reason that is a lot of times is because there isn't enough transparency. You know, an administration will say it, and then they won't respond or make a comment as to why it was really done.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, if you're going to do it, you got to be transparent from an administrative aspect as to why you're doing it, just so you can avoid any backlash that may be coming.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the administrators, they're not very transparent because they're like, well, this is a personnel thing, and we can't get into that. That'll be interesting. Dom Izzo will be coming up tomorrow, story out of Fargo, and I think it applies to more high schools than just that one. By the way, new coach at O'Gorman, just had him on, Dan Jansen, great Augie college basketball player of the year, and he's going to be a high school head coach for O'Gorman, stepping in for Derek Roby. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm excited. I got really excited when I saw the news today because I do a podcast over at Sioux Falls Live with a co-host, Jared Ribedo, and he was a Augie grad who was there during the time when Dan Jansen took that team to a national championship in 2016, and I know Jared was fired up about it. I got fired up about it enough to go over there to O'Gorman while John Gaskins and Cordell Wright there were interviewing him for happy hour today, and got to introduce myself to Dan, and I had to show him the picture of Jared as well. I mean, it's too cool. Jared was a freshman and dressed up like Dan Jansen on the court there during the regionals when Augie was making their run, and what a cool person to have leading that program. He was one of the greatest players ever to walk through Augustana. I think he still leads them in all-time points with over 2,000 in his career. Was National Player of the Year in 2016, two-time Northern Sun Player of the Year. I mean, a tremendous hire for them. I got to talk to him a little bit about his coaching time. He played at Mock Floyd Valley, which is not too far from here in Orange City, Iowa, in an area that I'm really familiar with. I'm from Lamar's and from the Northwest Iowa area, so I know that area pretty well. And he wasn't heavily recruited, but came to Augie and really left an incredibly lasting impression there. I got to play under Tom Billiter, one of the great coaches there at Augie, and I know he's fired up about this opportunity. He coached down in South Carolina for a little bit, spent a year out in Iowa City coaching as well, and then made his way back here to Sioux Falls, I think through his wife's job through the medical industry. And it's just really, really cool full circle moment for him to be taking over this program in particular. Obviously he's replacing a big name in Derek Roby, who's there for so long at O'Gorman and did so many great things. But got his feet wet this year as far as South Dakota basketball goes, and was the JV coach there. They got off to a little bit of a rough start JV-wise, but they won 10 of their last 11, and they looked like a really good team when I was able to catch some JV games beforehand. So I think he's going to step it into a great job. This O'Gorman team's going to be a little undersized going into next season again. I think it's something they typically always deal with, but they're always deep. They always got a lot of guys who can come off the bench. They've always got really good guard play. And I think, Dan can play really well with stuff like that. Sort of a positionless player himself. He was a 6'9" forward, was able to really get to the basket and play the perimeter a lot too. And, such a gem for the Vikings. But that O'Gorman team was 13-11 a year ago, finished in 8th place in AA, and he's not stepping into small shoes by any means. But right. I got the chance to listen to his interview with John today, and I know you had him on the show earlier. He's a guy who brings, obviously he's really, the faith aspect is really big for him, and I think that's a good fit for O'Gorman. Him being an Augie grad as well, Lutheran University, his faith means a lot to him, and it's going to be a binding thing, I think, for this particular job as well. He's going to have some good talent too next year. This O'Gorman team is going to be pretty solid on the AA side. I think it's a wide open race going into it. I know looking at it right now, I like Lincoln again. I like T area. There's some teams out here that are going to certainly have their say, but I think O'Gorman's going to be in that mix, and I'm really, really fascinated to see how Dan Jansen does. He talks about the passion he brings to the game, and certainly a player of his caliber and a guy who's accomplished so much at the Division II level. That's going to translate in some way. We'll see how it does, at the high school level here in South Dakota.
I think that's a good get for O'Gorman. Dan Jansen taking over today for the Knights. Trent Singer covering the high school sports scene. Follow him at Trent Singer. Find him at SiouxFallsLive.com. Trent, always great, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. No cat attacks during this interview, too, so we survived it.
I love it. Be careful. Keep an eye on. Keep your head on a swivel. Trent Singer in tonight. SiouxFallsLive.com as we get set for a Reaction Monday. A Masters Monday with Rob Kagron. What did he think about the Masters and the back-to-back finish for Rory McIlroy? Where does that put Rory in golf? That's on the way.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Mom, can we please go to Watiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Watiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Watiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WatikiWaterPark.com.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Mr. Liquor's the only place to find select bottles of bourbons and whiskeys custom etched with the most popular South Dakota landmarks, including Mount Rushmore, Pactola, and Sheridan Lakes, plus the B-21 Raider Edition. Your choice for just $39.99. Or check out the brand new Jefferson Bourbon custom etched bottle celebrating America's 250th birthday. Also, save $11 off a $7.50 bottle of Crown Royal Chocolate, now only $19.99. Mr. Liquor, off Catron next to Walmart, or on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Get ready to swing into spring at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort with grand prize drawings that will win you a different kind of green. We've teamed up with Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club to bring you grand prize drawings every Friday and Saturday night in April. We'll draw for free rounds of golf, and one lucky winner each night will win a couple's membership. Swing into spring and take your game to the next level. Exclusively at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort in Deadwood.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
Okay, ma'am, just a few rules to follow for your new windows and doors.
Okay.
No washing.
For how long?
Forever. No shades, no furniture within 4 feet of the window.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, I'd stack your furniture in the center of the room, and after the first rain, stay away from the window.
You're freaking me out.
There's no need to be freaked out about installing new doors or windows. Renewal by Anderson has installed over 100,000 windows and doors.
Oh, and don't lean on the window. We wouldn't want you falling out.
I can't lean against the window?
No, you can lean, just don't put any weight on it.
The guy who sold me the windows didn't tell me that.
Don't know. I'm just a subcontractor for the contractor.
Renewal by Anderson has master craftsmen who follow your job from start to finish.
Oh, and the picture window in the back room, it was an odd size, so we made it a little smaller.
How much smaller?
Yeah, about 5 feet smaller.
Yeah, well, now it's not a picture window.
Well, sure it is, if you hang a picture on it.
Brilliant.
Yep, that's why you pay us the big bucks. By the way, I only take cash.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit Acclaim windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Anderson. Learn more at rbarapidcity.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Welcome in. Glad you're here on a Monday on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We are live, Fox Sports Radio, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. East River meets West River. We have a little fun. Rob Kagron's in. He's ready to go on a Reaction Monday, a Masters Monday. And I started my show with saying that Rob Kagron's coming in for the Rob Kagron Show because the Masters was this weekend. And so this has turned into the Rob Kagron Show. So we're going to start with Masters. And I said, here's what I watched. I did watch Thursday. You came in on Thursday, as you do.
Yep.
And you were following it, and it wrapped up pretty much by the time we got going. So I didn't watch Thursday. I watched Friday. I watched Saturday. Almost caught a nap on Saturday. It was kind of, but that was a good day.
Terrible.
I mean, I had some things going, and I thought I had some lunch. It was, the birds. I mean, it was just good, and Jim Nantz, and so I still watched. I didn't catch a nap. Sunday I watched as well, and then I bagged it for a little bit there towards the end because I knew what was already going to happen. I think. I mean, it sounded like. I mean, I missed a little bit, and then I came back for the end. And by the way, Rory McIlroy hangs on to win. That's the big story. How big of a story is that? But first, is this the big story? Matt Kearney, the great producer of the Nate Brown Show. I started my show with this. I asked him this week when he came in today. I said, did you watch a second of the Masters? At least 5 minutes. He didn't watch a second. I don't know how you can turn on your TV. You got to go. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You got to check in and see who's there and who's doing what. It's the Masters. He didn't watch a second. We got listeners that have checked in, not very many, but 2 of them here on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Just 2 in the entire state, and we have thousands. There's nobody that has more listeners than we do. There was 2 that did not watch a second of the Masters. What do you say?
Well, number one, I'm extremely disappointed in the producer extraordinaire of this show, Matt Kearney, because I have a lot of respect for him. I think he does a great job.
Yes,
and I think he's a good sports fan.
Yes.
But you're not a big sports fan if you didn't turn on the Masters for at least, you say 5 minutes. I say you got to watch the back 9 on Sunday. You can miss the rest, even though I'm going to watch every second of it. I think you can be a big-time sports fan and just watch the back 9 on Sunday, so about 2 hours or so just of that coverage. I think you can get away with that being your entry into the Masters watching. To not watch any of it when there was literally nothing else worth watching in sports this weekend?
Nothing.
What was the competition? What was the competition to watch?
Not much. Baseball and the last part of the NBA, which is
I
nothing.
love baseball, and I don't need to watch this particular weekend when the Masters is on early in the season. The NBA, and I know we're going to get into it later, there wasn't a ton of drama at the end of the season that you had to watch.
Zero.
So I don't see where you'd be going there. What else is there to watch in sports?
Now, could Matt Kearney hit me? Because for the first time in, I don't know, forever, last year, he talked me into watching the Indy 500. He's a big race fan. I didn't watch the Indy 500. I mean, I didn't. I've gone years. I didn't watch a second of the Indy 500. Then I watched a ton of it last year. So could he hit me for not watching the Indy 500 over my career?
Yes, because I think at the very least, that's one of those things where you have to watch it for. You don't have to watch the whole race, right? Certainly not. But I'd say the last 20 minutes, half hour is always incredibly exciting. There's a lot of lead changes there.
So you haven't missed the Indy 500 in your life?
Has it ever happened where I didn't watch a second of it?
Yeah,
probably
I think so.
While I was traveling a couple of times. But I'd say pretty few and far between.
Is that right?
I almost always have that at the very least. I mean, you know what it is, right? It's Memorial Day weekend, right? You're kind of in the mood for all kinds of things sports-wise. Would I be watching a ton of it? No, but for sure a half hour.
Okay, so we watched yesterday. You and I watched. And did you watch? You said you watched like a ton of this every day?
Yeah,
every day?
To say that I missed many shots over the last 4 days.
My goodness.
I mean, I can tell you this. I woke up on Saturday morning, and I wake up pretty early as it is, but because we're here in the Mountain Time Zone out in Rapid City, the golf started around 7:25, I think, 7:30 our time on Saturday morning, and the first featured group was like 20 minutes later. I had that on, and I had some form of Masters coverage on. In fact, most of the time, I had 3 screens going. I had
goodness.
An iPad, a smart TV, and a phone all with different coverages of the Masters.
Now,
so I'm a fanatic. You can't take me
that's
seriously.
what I was going to say. I'm a little worried about you.
Well, I'm a little worried about me too, Nate. I mean, we could go down that path. That's a different kind of radio show, though.
So he's all over the Masters. And listener text coming in, it was a boring Sunday at the Masters. And then he said you could have watched the NASCAR Bristol race yesterday afternoon.
I do like watching Bristol. That's a great track, that little short track in Tennessee. That's a fun race to often watch. And I wouldn't go against that. I just wouldn't watch that instead of the Masters, right? And the Bristol race, there's usually 2 races in Bristol. This is how crazy of a sports fan I am. The night race at Bristol is way more exciting than the daytime race. That's how into the weeds we're getting here. But I will agree with the listener there. Here's the way I'll say it.
Sunday was boring.
Saturday was way more exciting than Sunday. Sunday had its moments where it was good, but the fact that you didn't get to the last 3 holes where you thought one of these guys was going to overtake him. If Cam Young had made any of the putts on 12, 13, 14, or 15, you would have felt like, hey, last 3 holes, put some pressure on McIlroy. Who knows what happens? When that never happened. But Saturday was incredibly exciting. Guy has a 6-stroke lead, and like within an hour and a half, there's all these guys, bunched up on the leaderboard. That part I really enjoyed.
I went into Sunday thinking Rory wasn't going to win back-to-back. It just felt that way. It was like he melted down a little bit Saturday. Still hung on, but I thought, well, he's not going to get it done. He does. So Rory wins back-to-back Masters. He's one of 4 guys now. One of 4 guys. So just Rory's majors and Masters. Is he one of the all-time great golfers? One of the all-timers now?
I mean, what number are we going up to? Yes, he's an all-timer. There's no doubt about it.
I think you got to say like top 5.
He is not top 5. Okay, he's not there yet. Absolutely not there yet. And he's going to have to win a couple more majors to get into that, to crack that number, right? Here's what I'll say about Rory. I give him a lot of credit. Forget the fact that he won the Masters last year and won back-to-back. But there was a big gap between his major wins, right? He won 4 and then didn't win anything for many years. And then he wins 2 over the last 2 years. But to say that he's as good as Jack, talent-wise, sure, he's top 5. But a lot of this, how do we evaluate teams, athletes, individuals? We evaluate them based on winning.
Especially golf.
And he's won 6 now, and so he's up there. But is he better than overall career-wise than Jack? No. Tiger? No. I would say Ben Hogan? No. I'm getting into the weeds with some old golfers. Arnold Palmer? Not yet. Right? He's not there yet. Is he? I think he's kind of just on the back end of the top 10, to be honest.
Well, I was going to say, you can't put, to me, I'm not a golf expert like you, but I can roll through those names too, and I don't know exactly the numbers outside of Tiger, and Tiger was chasing Jack. However, you can't put Rory McIlroy, just that name. I know he's won. He's not up there with the top guys. I still feel like Rory's just really good, not like somebody that people are going to put in that top category.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I think his talent is just as good as anyone who's ever played golf.
Now we're talking the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady deal here?
Well, no, I don't. I'm not going to go down that path. But what I will say is he wins 2 more majors, right? And in particular, if he wins the 2 that he needs to have essentially the double Grand Slam, because he now has 2 Masters and 2 PGAs.
Yes.
If he wins the British Open or the Open Championship and the U.S. Open again at some point in his career, and he has 8, 4 and 4, double. That's big time. That's top 5 stuff of all time. Okay. Absolutely.
So he has the Grand Slam and he has the Masters 2 and the PGA Championship 2. But I'm looking at it going, we thought Tiger was going to get there too, remember?
Yep.
And then the wheels fell off. And Rory's 36?
Yeah,
36?
It'll be 37 next month. But, I agreed with you. Like, when I woke up yesterday, I did not think he would win. I thought the fact that he had come back to the pack so much on Saturday, I thought that there were so many guys who I thought had the chops to win.
Yeah, there was a lot.
And they'd put a lot of pressure on him. I thought there were a lot of things working against him yesterday. The fact that he won again, I get a little nervous that he could go on a real run here and win. You're not going to win every major. They're just the competition's too tough. You have to be on your game too much. But could he win 3 or 4 more? Could he get to 10? I absolutely think he could get to 10 over the next 5 to 6 years. 10 majors total. He's at 6.
So you think he's going to get to 10, but he's got to win the Open. he's got to win the U.S. Open, right, for a double Grand Slam.
That's what he needs for a double. But if he just got 4 more, any 4, I don't care what 4 they are.
Well, he's not going to win the Masters again.
Oh, I think
he's not going to win that again.
Well, I think, remember the thing about the Masters, Nate. Right? It's the one tournament where you go every single year, you know the course, and he's getting better at it as he's going along.
Well, that's because he plays there all the time.
And it was widely reported that he went up like 23 times.
I don't like that.
Well, what
I
do
don't
you mean?
like
Why
that at
not?
all.
Well, that's what practice. That's putting time into your craft.
Well, that's like you at your course saying you could beat one of these PGA pros because you know the course inside and out. I mean, I think they should limit it. I think they should limit guys from playing that. Absolutely. I can't go to the arena and play at the Final Four arena 20 times before I play there.
That's not a fair comparison.
Oh, totally.
It doesn't matter what court you're on in the Final Four.
I get to go play at the Broncos Stadium 10 times before I play the Broncos there.
That doesn't matter either. Like playing, and that's not giving you any kind of extra preparation. A golf course preparation is wildly different.
I actually don't like that. I think they should limit it. I think they should limit how many times you can play at these major courses that you go to every year.
Don't we want them to be great? Don't we want them? Don't we want to see excellent shots? And preparation and practice is what helps those things to happen?
That's okay, but he can play there. I'm not saying he doesn't have to play there a bunch. I mean, he played there, I guess, more than anybody.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. That's you prioritize instead of playing in 3 tournaments that he didn't really care that much about. And he said that he's like tournaments that he doesn't particularly like playing in. He used his time to go back and forth, and give him credit, right? He did it. He'd drop his daughter off at school, go play, and be back in time for dinner.
Oh, I feel sorry for him. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he has a bad life, but I mean, it's not like he's gallivanting around sitting up there for weeks at a time.
I had to drop my daughter off. I had to go play at Augusta, and I was back for dinner. Father of the Year. By the way, Rory is a tad better than Phil Mickelson. That's what listener text just said. A tad better than Phil Mickelson.
And I am the biggest Phil fan. I've rooted for Phil his entire career. I'd have a hard time saying no to that. I think they're on the same level right now. Now, the thing with Phil, and this is what it'll remain to be seen about Rory, is longevity, right? Phil won a PGA championship when he was 51 or 52 years old, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Just a few years ago at Kiowa in South Carolina. Now, Rory, again, sometimes it's a little different nowadays with how motivated are they to keep playing until they're 50, 51, 52, and stay healthy, right, through that whole career.
He's going to practice probably 40 times at the Augusta next year, right?
Yeah, probably. But if he were to, I'd say if he just won one more major, he'd be better than Phil. But a lot of it has to do with longevity, too. Can you keep winning into your 40s, mid-40s, late 40s?
Okay, I've got something that happened yesterday. So I went to an NBA game a couple of weeks ago. One of the best sports experiences I've had in a long time. And then everyone's saying, this is the NBA. What happened yesterday was really interesting. I have a stat, and we're going to break into this. Hang on.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Andersen, we handle everything from start to finish and beyond. We are your full-service custom replacement solution. Buy one Acclaim replacement window or ensemble entry door and get the second 40% off with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Don't wait. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Big-time interviews and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight. Rob Cagron is in. He has not practiced as much as Rory McIlroy at Augusta, but he's working on it. By the way, would you love to play there?
I would.
Would
yes.
you just love to play there?
Yes.
Would you
Absolutely.
play from the member tees?
Of course I'd play from the member tees. I'm not. I mean, these guys are playing from like 7,400 yards. I can't play from 7,400 yards.
Well, I'm just asking because you said you could beat these guys on a hole.
I said I could beat them at Arrowhead, 1 hole, yes, which I still think I could do. But at Augusta, no, I don't think I could beat them on a hole.
Oh, okay.
If I play from the members and they play from the backs, maybe. 1 hole out of 18, maybe.
Oh my goodness! Now we got him beating Rory on the 18th yesterday.
Well, one out of the 18.
He beats him on the 18th. Let's see. Lister text coming in. Tell Rob I'm looking forward to a free lunch. The Big Ten did win the national championship. He's referencing.
Yeah.
This is a few weeks ago.
I did say that.
You said no Big Ten team. And you were trying to get off the hook. He's got you on it.
We'll get that listener's info, and I absolutely will get him a lunch since I promised that.
Nice gift card to someplace. Yep. We'll see. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. So here's something. I want to shift gears here. So I went to Spurs Nuggets a couple of weeks ago in Denver. And it's always risky. It's kind of late in the year. Spurs are in that second seed. Nuggets were still kind of trying to battle. You just never know in the NBA now when you're spending big dollars on tickets. I brought my whole family. This is big dollars. And who's going to play? And I was like, man, I've lucked out. I've seen some unbelievable games. And the Nuggets Spurs from 2 weeks ago in Denver was off the charts. Jokic went for 40. Wembanyama went for 39. 2 MVP candidates. It was off the charts. It went to overtime. And you said you had a buddy there or something, too. It said the game was just off the charts. So I have stuck up. I'm a basketball fan. I watch the NBA a lot. I'm dialed on the playoffs all the time. So I'm a basketball guy, and I took my family. We just thought it was a blast. Well, here's what happened yesterday. 168 players in the NBA sat out or were injured for the finale. The regular season wound down yesterday. There's people that are out of the race, no playoff seeding on the line. Some teams are tanking. I mean, so it was a huge number of players. And we're talking like Wembanyama yesterday. Spurs didn't matter if they won, so he sat out. And they were playing the Nuggets in a rematch in San Antonio. So if you're going to the game, let's say you got tickets. Last regular season game, I'm going to watch Jokic and Wembanyama in San Antonio. Jokic played, I think it was like 16 minutes just to get his quota.
Yep.
Wembanyama didn't play. This wasn't like yesteryear when Ewing took on Jordan. Regular season game, last regular season game, seedings were set, but they still played, and they played a lot. No playing time yesterday for 168 players. What do you say? What are we going to do? They're going to have to do something because I think fans are going to get burned.
Yeah, I think it is a problem. Well, I think you and I have discussed many times how big of a problem load management in the NBA is. I don't think this is the best example of it, though, right? For teams that had nothing to play for in the last regular season game. Now, I make a differentiation between tanking and getting ready for the playoffs, right? Like, sending Wembanyama out there in a meaningless game where the seeding is already determined, where he could just freakishly get hurt, is it that different than an NFL team sitting their starters in the last week of the regular season when they basically have nothing to play for?
Yeah,
because
they've done that now a lot.
It's happening all the time in the NFL at the end. I don't have a problem with it in the last game, right? I have a problem with the tanking side. I have a problem with the load management throughout the season.
Yeah, but
when it comes down to the last game, do I really owe it to anyone that I have to? I mean, how many games did Wembanyama play this year?
I played a lot,
right?
And so did Jokic, but why did we not do that in 1992? We're talking Knicks, Bulls were number 1, number 2 in the Eastern Conference. Those seeds were set. Last game of the season was in New York. You could have been there. You might have been there. You watched Ewing and Jordan play.
A lot of times, absolutely.
And they wouldn't have played because why? They shouldn't have. Jordan could have got hurt for the Bulls, 1992 in the big run.
Well, I think it's a combination of two things. The modern athlete is very different than the athlete that you and I grew up with, and I'm not saying that the modern athlete doesn't take pride because they conditioned themselves in a way that athletes in the past didn't necessarily do. But there isn't that, I'm overgeneralizing here, there isn't that feel of obligation to the fan that they owe the fan anything. If you ever asked Jordan, and you and I have watched him speak 1,000 times in interviews, he would give everything he had in every one of those games because he knew that there were people there that was their only chance to ever see him. That's why I always had, as much as I was a Knicks fan and I couldn't stand how much the Bulls would beat us, I always had such respect for Jordan because there was never a moment where you felt like he was taking any time off.
Right,
like he just gave everything he had. So part of it is the modern athlete is different than that, but a lot of this also has to do with the teams, the organizations, right? They are just as big of culprit, if not more.
I think they are. I think they are.
They're creating think about what happened with the Bucks and Giannis towards the end of the year, right? Where Giannis wants to go back out there and play, and they're coming up with all kinds of cockamamie reasons like, no, you're hurt, or we're not going to clear you medically. He wants to play. He's not trying to get himself hurt. He knows what his life and career is all about. Let him, if he's that sure that he can play, you're coming up with some fake reasons why he can't play.
I believe the teams are doing it, as you say, maybe even more than like Wembanyama. I don't know if Wembanyama showed up yesterday and said, I don't want to play, because he's a guy that's played a ton. Jokic has played a ton. There are stars that play a ton. I think the Spurs stopped him and said, that's just my guess, hey, you're not going to play.
Absolutely. It comes down to the fact that we're not going to give up our opportunity here in the playoffs for a meaningless end of the season, regular season game where you could theoretically get hurt. And I really don't have a problem with that one because we don't throw up any kind of big fits when our teams sit their starters in the last week of the regular season in football so that they don't get hurt going into the playoffs.
Either, right? Do you remember Joe Montana and these guys doing that when the 49ers had the number 1 seed?
Yeah, and you know who was the starter of this really was Tony Dungy and the Colts. He was the one who would start sitting Peyton and sitting other guys, right?
I remember that.
And there are two different philosophies of how to do it. Do you want to get your starters out there, keep them fresh? Do you want to prevent them from injury? I get that there are different ways of doing it, but if we're not going to put up a big fight about it in football, I want to go after the basketball load management stuff. I just don't want to do it in the last day of the regular season.
Okay, so it happened a lot throughout the season. It always does. It happens more and more. So I could have had that ticket a couple of weeks ago, and it could have very well happened there. If the Nuggets didn't have anything to play for, they still did. But that could have happened, and then you're spending a boatload of money. So the narrative is, with the folks listening tonight, I can tell you right now, the narrative is the NBA guys don't want to play. They load manage. They're prima donnas. I mean, I can hear guys right now complaining. So what do people think of the NBA today?
I think that the NBA has a huge reputation problem because of the lack of competitiveness in the regular season, right? I mean, there was a stat, and I don't think we've talked about this on the air. You may have done it when I wasn't here, but there was a stat, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago in the NBA, that there have been 2 days in the history of the NBA where 9 games or more were determined by more than 20 points. And both of those happened in the same week about 3 weeks ago. It had never happened before in the history of the NBA. The only reason you're having these blowouts is because you have teams that are not even trying to win. I think they have a huge problem with teams not trying to win. It happens in the NFL occasionally where it seems like a team is kind of tanking. But even then, right, there's a lot of pride in NFL players who still go out there. They're fighting for their jobs. They have short careers. And we see it every year where a team that had 2 wins all of a sudden wins a game.
Surprise.
And, like at the end of the season. That's not happening in the NBA. And so I think they have a big reputation problem. I think they get around it when it comes down to the playoffs because generally the matchups are exciting enough, competitive enough.
Yep.
But for, what is it, NBA regular season, 5 months, 6 months, almost 6 months now, for the 6 months of the regular season, the NBA has a big problem. People are not paying that close attention.
Okay, so my argument is still this. NFL is number one when it comes to pro sports. We know that. I still think the NBA beats baseball.
I don't agree.
Think the NBA beats baseball.
I don't agree. When you look at it en masse, right, over the course of an entire season, baseball does way better in terms of the people that they draw into the stands, does way better in terms of, now again, each individual game,
look at
ratings-wise.
Look at Target Field.
Okay, but let's look over the course of all of the teams and how many seats are in a baseball stadium. But let's just go to the playoffs, okay? It's not even comparison right now the last few years.
Well,
baseball ratings are way better than basketball ratings.
Baseball ratings have come up. They were dead. They've come up. NBA is in good shape. You look at the finals, if you have 2 good markets, we're not talking OKC and Indiana, okay? That's an offshoot. 2 good markets, NBA beats baseball.
I don't agree at all.
You think I'm just a basketball fan?
Yeah.
So I say
and you're down on baseball.
You're talking me. NBA with kids and younger
let's
generations.
Make it real easy.
NBA
Let's make it real easy.
Is there.
Let's make it real easy. Let's take the 2 biggest markets. Let's take Lakers, Knicks, and let's take Dodgers, Yankees. What's going to do better if they both go to a Game 7?
The Dodgers have won back-to-back World Series titles.
And they're getting huge ratings when they do it.
If the Lakers are in the NBA Finals, you may want to check it.
I don't agree.
You know that's huge. It's absolutely huge. Lakers make the NBA Finals. They're more popular than the Dodgers. You know that. That's a Lakers
The rating of a Game 7 of those 2 markets would be higher in baseball than it would be in basketball.
So you go NFL and baseball slips in? I'm talking about after college football. You got
of course.
college football there.
Absolutely. Baseball is I don't think baseball's leaps and bounds over basketball, but it's slightly above the NBA. Slightly
Major
above.
League Baseball has passed the NBA in this country?
Absolutely. The thing is, you can, and a lot of this, we talk about this a lot, gambling, right? You can bet pretty safely on a baseball game, right? There are not a lot of these things that happen in baseball. Very hard. And I know friends who used to bet on basketball all the time. They won't do it anymore. Right? They're too bothered by getting burned by exactly what you just described of players not showing up to play. That has something to do with it, too, of losing it. And playoffs, different story, but I'm still...
Playoffs.
Again, the ratings are... I don't care that it was OKC and Indiana.
Yeah, that matters. It does.
But it was a Game 7 in June. June with nothing else up against it. And it didn't do half of the rating that the baseball Game 7 did.
Yeah, the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers.
The other market was Toronto, which isn't even measured in this country.
The Dodgers. Huge brand, huge market. NBA beats baseball. I just have no doubt. By the way, let's get into a story about the NFL draft. So that's coming up next week. This isn't about these players. This is about off-the-field issues, and it seems like something always pops up. How much should off-the-field issues matter? A discussion coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
It's the Big 24 at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. We're celebrating 24 years with an April packed with chances to win big. Every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. till midnight, we're giving away a share of over $50,000 in cash and prizes. Be here for drawings twice each hour with growing prizes as the night goes on, including 5 chances to win $1,000 from 10 p.m. till midnight. Come be a part of our 24th anniversary at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort in Deadwood. How will your night play out?
Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their #1 priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Great news. I just got the State Farm personal price plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union, my family's banking partner. We've been with them a long time. It's the right choice for us. The best rates on all sorts of loans. They have the great rates, also great technology and convenience and a personal connection. BHFCU. I'm glad I switched from my last bank. It's been really good. Get a bank that works for you. Start at BHFCU.com. Easy to switch and become a member. 18 locations to serve you from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls. Become a member at Black Hills Federal Credit Union, BHFCU.com. Rob Kagron's in. It's a Reaction Monday on South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio. Well, you've come up with my question of the day tomorrow. This is going to be really interesting. So I'm going to ask the parents. What's little Jimmy watching? Is little Jimmy watching Victor Wembanyama? And is little Jimmy watching Anthony Edwards? Or is little Jimmy watching Aaron Judge and Francisco Lindor and players like that? I think they're watching Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards. I think they're watching them.
And maybe they are, but that's not the question. The question is which is more popular? And baseball is more popular. Are there more personalities in basketball that young people gravitate towards? 100%, no doubt about it. But who watches more of the games?
You're going to tell me the younger generation is watching baseball over the NBA?
No, I would not necessarily say that. What I'd say
That's who they're after.
In this country, baseball is still more popular than basketball.
I don't think it's ever been more popular, except for when you're talking like way back in the day. Way back in the day.
Are we talking baseball or basketball?
Baseball. It's never been more popular than basketball. You're talking Michael Jordan, man. You're talking Magic Johnson. Are you telling me that baseball beat those guys in the 80s and 90s?
Ratings-wise, for sure. I mean, baseball was king of this country until 30 years ago or so, right? It was bigger than football, all right? Let's be fair. With the ratings.
Come on now.
Let's go back to do the ratings
Michael
test.
Jordan and the Chicago Bulls?
Baseball's
the Detroit
ratings
Pistons?
were always...
The Lakers?
Always better.
Well, here's the
After the
problem.
strike, it changed
Here's the problem. Baseball's finals, World Series is in October. We're watching TV. The NBA's in June. We're out doing stuff.
Okay, but baseball's World Series and playoffs are against the NFL, which is king of everything in this country.
Except for on a Tuesday night when you're not doing anything. But, okay, let me get into the NFL and the draft next week. So there's a story out with this Miami player for the Hurricanes, Ruben Bain. And this is being covered because Ruben Bain has had some car accidents. One accident involved with Ruben Bain resulted in the death of one of his passengers 2 years ago. So NFL teams have had meetings with Ruben Bain from the Miami Hurricanes. This could be a top 5 pick here. They've been saying, have you matured? What does this mean? What should we be looking at? So some of Ruben Bain's draft meetings with NFL teams these auto accidents have come up. And so I didn't look into all the details of all the things that Ruben Bain has had, but this just brought up a general question for me. There's always some of these stories with players, speeding, DUIs, driving, accidents, maybe drug, some of the stuff. How much should the off-the-field issues factor in if you're drafting a player in the top 5? I mean, in the draft.
It should be as important as their talent, right? As their talent and as their...
Is it? Do you think it is? I wonder if it is.
I think with a lot of teams it is. I think there are certain teams, and we can name them over the course of the years, that gravitate or are willing to take chances on players that have had behavioral problems, right? Raiders comes to mind right away. Browns comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
Guys that we knew that they had behavioral problems in college, and they still took a chance on them. So I don't think it's across the board every team, but I absolutely think it should. I mean, you're investing your future in these guys. Their talent could be the most amazing thing in the world. If they're not going to be on the field because of their behavior, what does it matter?
I'm with you on it. I wonder how much it factors in. I think sometimes talent supersedes everything, and I've seen these cases. They say, well, the talent's off the charts. We hope he'll stay out of trouble. And then everything's different. Now you got to look into stuff. It's like this accident and how did this happen and who was at fault? I mean, so there's various things. I don't know if some of this past stuff should totally derail a guy's career, but how serious is it?
No, I think
it should be. Some of these things are really serious.
Yeah, and I think if you've made amends and you've done better with your life, no doubt about it. Problem is when you're still in the middle of and there are multiple of these incidents, that is a pattern of behavior, and no amount of money or staffing that an NFL team has to try to help you along, unless they're going to try to get better themselves. In fact, if anything, being in the NFL might be worse, right? Because they have more resources, more money to do things that they shouldn't be up to.
Coming right back, we wrap it up on a Reaction Monday with a high school sports question. Rob's take coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
All kinds of vehicles, all kinds of loans. all as low as 4.99% APR. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we're here to help all kinds of people, just like you. Get moving. From truck drivers to van warriors, we got the right loan to fit your style with rates as low as 4.99% APR. Wherever the road takes you, start with BHFCU. Apply today at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818.
Offer subject to credit approval. BHFCU is member owned and insured by NCUA.
When you win the new Millionaire for Life daily draw game from the South Dakota Lottery, you don't just win $1 million a year for the rest of your life. You win the chance to do whatever you want, like bring a hot dog cannon to a wedding reception. But just because you could, doesn't mean you should. What would you do if you became a millionaire for life, playing Millionaire for Life from the South Dakota Lottery?
Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
If you think all shoe stores are the same, you haven't walked into Trav's Outfitter. We have the biggest selection of footwear anywhere. In fact, we dare you to compare. At Trav's, you don't have to sell yourself a pair of shoes. Our team helps you find the right fit for your lifestyle. We may be the newest name on the block in Rapid, but we've been in this game for over 40 years. Come find us in the old Kmart building. Trav's Outfitter, best selection, best service, no BS.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. A red flag warning remains in effect. Mainly clear skies tonight with lows around 40. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain showers tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 66. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Tomorrow night, lows level off around 39. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 69.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, final 2 minutes of the program. 2-minute warning on The Nate Brown Show tonight with Rob Kagron in. A Reaction Monday. Fun show tonight. If you missed parts of it, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. It'll be up shortly. High school sports takes a turn in Fargo, North Dakota. 2 high school basketball coaches get let go at the same time. Boys basketball coach out. Girls basketball coach out. We don't know all the circumstances, but I'm going to have the broadcaster on from Fargo that reported this tomorrow. He said parents were angry, and they demanded the coaches be let go. Not off of performance or anything, program-wise, not good for the student-athletes' welfare. It was parents were mad about the coaches. Should ADs listen to parents?
Only casually. I mean, I think parents get way too involved in this. They're not experts by any means. Just because you coached your kid when they were 7, 8, and 9 years old does not make you an expert in coaching them in high school. I think you should listen, right? But I certainly shouldn't be making decisions based on what the parents think.
Well, ADs should listen, though, so you kind of have to take the complaints and listen.
Yeah, and then look into it yourself, and then you're doing the evaluation. But
that's right.
The parents don't make the decision, and they can't force you into a corner to make a decision.
I had a high school basketball coach text in here and say, former high school basketball coach, the parents of the players that were not playing were my biggest issue.
Of course, always. They think that their kid is Michael Jordan, and he's not, or she's not, and that's it. And you're going to have to accept that the coach is doing the best that they can in evaluating the talent and putting a team together.
How serious should high school ADs take parent complaints about coaches? Like, when I say like playing time and stuff, you can't take you can't take those complaints.
No, absolutely not. I mean, unless that you knew that the coach had a grudge against the kid, short of that, absolutely should not be listening to those.
We're out the door. Rob Kagron back Thursday. The Nate Brown Show podcast going up right now. See you tomorrow.
I didn't know anything about radon.